All right, so we are going to be going over 102.8, the nervous system. I apologize ahead of time for the terminology if I butcher some of the words. Okay, so fun fact about your nervous system. The speed of messages transmission to the brain can be as high as 250 miles per hour. Most people dream about 1 to 2 hours a night and have an average of 4 to 7 dreams each night. It is thought that a yawn works to send more oxygen to the brain, therefore working to cool it down and wake it up, which I've definitely heard before. Now, when you're thinking of the study of the nervous system, that is called neuroscience. The nervous system is going to be what's responsible for coordinating and controlling the operation of the human body. It can be divided into 3 subsystems: your central, peripheral, and autonomic. Primary components of the nervous system include your brain, spinal cord, and your nerves. The components of the nervous system operating in harmony will receive and interpret stimuli and send messages from the nerve cells to the appropriate tissues, their organs, and muscles. Now, again, it's composed of brain, spinal cord, spinal, and cranial nerves. The central nervous system is responsible for all voluntary body action. So the brain and the spinal cord within the system. Our brain is going to be the control center. Okay, this is the command center. This is going to weigh about 45 to 49 ounces on average for a human adult. Now, the spinal cord is going to be composed of long nerve fibers. They originate in the base of the brain and they will extend to the base of the spine. The spinal cord will hold up to 31 pairs of spinal nerves, and those branch out to those muscles near them, internal organs, and skin. The peripheral nervous system is composed of sensory and motor nerves, and they extend from the brain and spinal cord to other parts of the body. This network of nerve cells carries messages to and from the central nervous system. Now, nerve cells, like other cells, have a neuron, which also has the nucleus, cytoplasm, and membrane that we learned in the basic organisms of living matter back in the basics of biology. Now, they differ in appearance from other cells because they have long and short thread-like fibers. These are called axons and dendrites that extend from the cell. Now, axons here, they are going to take information away from the cell body in the form of nerve impulses. And then your dendrites, up here, are going to bring information to the cell body in the form of nerve impulses. Then you have your types of nerves, which you're going to have sensory and motor. Sensory are going to be responsible for carrying messages to the brain and the spinal cord. The receptors send messages like touch, temperature, sight, sound, taste, smell, pain, and pressure to the brain to be processed. And then your motor nerves are going to be carrying messages from the brain to muscles and glands. This is going to cause muscles to contract or expand once the brain sends a message. And then the motor nerves cross over from one side of the body to the other on top of the spinal cord. Signals from the right side of the brain will go to the left side of the body and vice versa. Now, a lot of this chapter does focus in on more of the face, head, neck nerves. There's a lot more areas within that, which if you think about it makes sense, but focus a lot more within that area. So 2 of the 12 pairs of cranial nerves exert primary control in the areas of the face, head, and the neck. You have the trifacial nerve and the facial nerve. The largest of the cranial nerves is the trifacial nerve, and this is the chief sensory nerve that's primarily responsible for transmitting facial sensations to the brain and for controlling the motor nerve function of chewing. The trifacial nerve divides into 3 main branches. You have your ophthalmic, the maxillary, and the mandibular. Now, the ophthalmic branch is the main nerve branch at the top third of your face, and that divides into further areas. So each one is coordinated to an area on the face for location. You have number 1 as supraorbital, that extends to the skin of the upper eyelid, eyebrow, forehead, and scalp. The supratrochlear is going to extend to the skin of the upper side of your nose and between your eyes. 2A is going to be the infratrochlear, emerges on the skin of the upper eyelid and the side of the nose. Nasal is going to extend to the tip and lower side of the nose. Then the middle third of your face is going to be the maxillary branch, and that's divided into number 4 and 5. So 4 is going to be the zygomatic, that extends to the side of the forehead, temple, and upper part of the cheek. And then the infraorbital is extending to the lower eyelid, side of nose, upper lip, and mouth. And the bottom third of your face is going to be the mandibular branch. That's going to be subdivided into number 6 and 7. So you're going to have the auriculotemporal, extending to the ear into the area from the top of the head to the temple, so here. And then the mental. This is going to extend to the lower lip and your chin. Now the facial nerve is going to emerge from the brain at the lowest part of the ear and is the primary motor nerve of the face. Then facial nerve controls muscle and facial expression and sensation from the skin and tongue. Of its many branches, 6 are of particular importance. So the posterior auricular at number 8, this is going to extend to the muscles behind and below the ear. Number 9 is the temporal, extending to the muscles of the temple, side of forehead, eyebrow, eyelid, and upper cheek. The zygomatic extends to the upper muscles of the cheek. The buccal, this is going to extend to the muscles of the mouth. Marginal mandibular is going to extend to the muscles of the chin and lower lip. And the cervical, this is going to be extending to the muscles on the side of the neck and the platysma muscle. Other cervical nerves originate in the spinal cord. They branch into the scalp and the neck. Number 14 is the greater occipital. This extends up the back of the scalp to the top of the head. Number 15 is the lesser occipital. That is going to extend to the muscles at the back of the skull. 16 is the greater auricular, extending into the side of the neck and external ear. And cervical cutaneous, extending into the side and front of the neck to the breastbone. The 11th cranial nerve is affected when using massage movements during a facial. So that is going to be 18 here. The accessory, this is extending into the sternocleidomastoideus and trapezius muscle. Now, the primary nerves that are found in your arm and or hand transmit sensations to the brain, and then it will carry impulses from the brain to those muscles. Now, if you remember back to the skeletal system, some of this may help with knowing the locations of those bones, because a lot of the wording is very similar. So you have the ulnar nerve, which is going to extend down the little finger side of the arm to the palm of the hand. The radial, extending down the thumb side of the arm into the back of the hand. The median is going to extend down the mid-forearm into the hand, and the digital extends into the fingers of the hand, or the digits. Lower leg and foot nerves. This is going to help move your body through the actions of the legs, feet, and toes, while helping to also maintain balance when the body is moving or at rest. So number 1, you have the sciatic. This is going to begin in the lower back and run through the buttock and down the lower limb. The tibial that passes through the knee and the common peroneal nerve. The common peroneal nerve at number 3 runs alongside the sciatic nerve from the femur to the buttocks, then ventures further down on its own along the knee and behind the fibula. That one is going to split in, then splits inside the neck of the fibula into the deep peroneal and superficial peroneal. Number 4, the deep peroneal or the anterior tibial is a branch of the common peroneal. And number 5, the superficial peroneal, a branch of the common peroneal. 6, the dorsal, that is the superficial nerve, simply sits closer to the skin than the deep nerve and becomes the dorsal nerve. The saphenous begins in the thigh, and the sural runs down the back of the leg to the outside of the foot and your little toe. The nerves of the face, head, neck, hands, and feet can be stimulated during facials and or massage. During massage services, your movements can stimulate sensitive nerve tissues, resulting in nerve impulses that expand and contract corresponding muscles. Through this process, tight muscles can be relaxed, fatigued muscles can be soothed. Now, the autonomic nervous system is responsible for involuntary body functions. It operates the digestive, excretory, respiratory, circulatory, endocrine, and reproductive systems, which we kind of get into. So the digestive system within this, that's responsible for, as we know, breaking down food into simpler chemical compounds. So that way it can be easily absorbed by cells, or it can be eliminated from the body in waste products. So how this digestive process starts. So when you ingest your food, enzymes are secreted by the salivary glands, and that starts breaking down the food. The food will travel down the pharynx and through the esophagus into the stomach, propelled by twisting and turning motion of the esophagus called peristalsis. In the stomach, hydrochloric acids and several other enzymes will further break down that food. And one of those enzymes, pepsin, is responsible for the breakdown of protein into polypeptide molecules and free amino acids. That's particularly important for the production of your hair, skin, and nails. As partially digested food passes from the stomach into the small intestine, the assimilation of nutrients begin. Nutrients are absorbed by the villi, which are finger-like projections of the intestine walls, and transported through the circulatory system to the tissues and cells of your body. And then undigested food passes into your large intestine, or that can be known as your colon, which stores the waste for eventual elimination through the anal canal. Process of digestion takes about 9 hours to be completed. Then you have your excretory system that eliminates solid, liquid, and gaseous waste products from your body. Within this system, you have these organs: skin, liver, and kidneys. Skin covers nearly 20 square feet of body surface. It's the largest organ of the body. The skin releases water, carbon dioxide, and other waste through the sweat glands. Your liver converts and neutralizes ammonia from the circulatory system. And the kidneys receive urea from the liver and then pass the urea through small tube-like structures known as nephrons. Nephrons filter waste products and water, allowing usable nutrients to be reabsorbed into your blood. Excreted waste products travel through the ureter and bladder and are eliminated from the body in urine. We know that the respiratory system is going to be made up of organs and tissues that help you breathe. The primary function of the respiratory system is to intake oxygen to be absorbed into the blood and then exhale oxygen toxic byproduct, which is carbon dioxide. Both of these functions take place every time you take a breath. When it is possible to breathe through both the mouth and the nose, breathing through the nose is the healthier option. The nose actually contains mucous membranes to filter out dust and dirt and warms the inhaled air as it travels through the nasal passages. The primary respiratory system organs are going to be your lungs and diaphragm. The lungs are a spongy organ composed of cells into which air enters into as you inhale. These cells process oxygen for absorption into the blood and release carbon dioxide as you exhale. And then the diaphragm is going to be the muscular organ that separates the chest cavity from the abdomen. The diaphragm expands and contracts automatically to force air in and out of the lungs. And then the endocrine system is composed of a group of specialized ductless glands that regulate and control growth, reproduction, and health of your body. These glands manufacture chemical substances called hormones and secrete them directly into the bloodstream. So, for example, they give the example of the thyroid gland is a ductless gland, and it is responsible for making and storing hormones that help regulate your heart rate, blood pressure, body temperature, and rate at which food is converted into energy. The endocrine system directly affects your hair growth, skin conditions, and energy levels. Signs of fatigue or changes in hair growth may signal the need for medical attention. And last but not least, you have the reproductive system. This is responsible for the process by which a living organism procreates. Estrogen and testosterone are two hormones produced by the reproductive system that have the ability to influence skin conditions such as acne, hair growth, and hair color. And that is it. That brings us to a wrap with the nervous system. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I will talk to you all soon.